Hello, Professor. Today I am going to talk to you about Tenochtitlan, Mexico. So here it is. I also have the one I printed out, and then the one that I filled everything myself. So we have the Temple Mayor, one side for Tlaloc, the other side for Huitzilopochtli. We got the the elite school of Calamac right there. We have the priest quarters, the temple of the Eagle Warriors, the Zampontli, aka the Tower of Skulls or the Tower of Rack, the Skull of Racks. I mean, we got the other entity, Lalacutli. I'm not sure if I pronounced that one right. We got the zoo, Avery, the garden, and the temple of Tezcatlipoca. Here is a snake. We had snakes all over the walls of the Temple Mayor. There are over 700 species of snakes in Mexico alone. Temple Mayor again. We got our little booklet. Talleres 2020 del verano. So Earth had a god of entity. He was the creator and the destroyer. His pronunciation was Lalekotli. An interesting fact about him, according to Dr. Strada in his lectures, this entity actually was either a male or a female. So that's very interesting. In the priest quarters, the Mexica prepared a lot of religious duties there, like this whole sacrifices for the gods, to give thanks for all the things that they have and had. The priests were very important, especially in the upper middle class of the Aztec. The Eagle Warriors were the most elite warriors of the Mexica. Um, the Eagle Warrior Temple was northeast of the quarters of the priest quarters. Excuse me. Let me see. Now we're gonna talk about the school. I'm not sure. I'm positive that I'm pronouncing this. I can't remember how to pronounce it, but it's Calamalac. It starts with the C, the elite school. So what I like about the Mexica, our people, or the Mexicans in general, is that they didn't discriminate. So like education was free for boys and girls. So it just wasn't for boys. So I love that. They learned a lot, according to Dr. Estrada in his lectures. They learned a lot, like mythology, Aztec law, geography, mechanics. Um, Let me see. Obviously, religious practices, and they learned how to be warriors. Learn how to protect themselves, fight. Pretty interesting stuff. Now we're gonna talk about Quitz. Dang it, am I pronouncing it right? Quetzalcoatl. He was the entity of the wind. An interesting thing about him was oh no, sorry. So dang it, Quetzalcoatl was the wind god. Yeah, he was the wind god. Okay, so an interesting thing about him was there was a symbol. So there was a symbol for him. It was a cross section of a seashell that symbolized him, like I said. Um, his temple had a base, so the temple was circular, like I said, and that allowed the wind to roam freely around the temple. And then another thing that I loved that I learned about in the lecture, according to Dr. Estrada in this lecture, the Aztecs were actually really clean people. So every day the Aztecs had 1,000 men sweeping and cleaning the city, and that's actually really cool to know. Like I'm glad that we were clean people, so that was really nice to know. There's another entity. A lot of these entities I had trouble pronouncing. I apologize. I think one of them was named uh, Huatzlamopanti, aka the Skull Tower. An interesting thing about that, there was a lot of speculation that all those skulls in that temple came from the Temple La Mayor because of all the sacrificial sacrifices they had to do for the gods. But yeah, that was dope. And then we have the Buckwheat in Mesoamerica. It was called Umaya. So an interesting thing about this game was it's okay. It was like soccer and basketball in one. So the point of the game was you had to score a point through the hole. But the thing was that you couldn't use your hands, you couldn't use your feet, you could use your upper torso and upper legs. The rules, we don't necessarily really know the whole like ruling of the game, but to our knowledge, that's how it's played. Mesoamerica. Oh, this game has been played in Mesoamerica for thousands of years. And then we had another entity. He was one of the few sun entities. I believe you pronounce his name Tonetani. He was widely accepted as the the god in the Aztec calendar. He was never in a frontal position. He was always looked upon sideways. So a lot of people like to speculate that he was the one in that coin for Mexico, like the ten pesos. A lot of people like to speculate that that was him, but there was never any pictures from that were like that was represented with a frontal face, which kind of contradicts what I just said. But I mean, regardless of the thing I said, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it could have been him, could have not been. We're not really too sure, but a lot of people like to speculate that. And then finally, the Mexicans, the Mexica, they had a lot of zoos. So obviously, they had a lot of colorful headdresses like Huitzilopochtli, Koyashike, and her mom. But yeah, in the zoo we had all these like donkeys, monkeys, dogs, deer, and a bunch of all types of exotic animals. They love their zoo. That was really cool. I love the zoo too. And then finally we are gonna end up with like your video. We started with the Temple Mayor, and then we're gonna end with the Temple Mayor. So the Temple Mayor, according to Dr. Estrada, had two sides. One for Huitzilopochtli and one for the water entity Tololic. So the story of the whole point of the Temple Mayor was a reconstruction of Snake Mountain to tell the tale of Huitzilopochtli and Koyashike. So Koyashike tried to assassinate her mom. So the whole point of that story was she was enraged because she was pregnant and she just wanted to kill her. So Huitzilopochtli was her brother, and she just, they fought and it didn't work out. Huitzilopochtli killed her, and yeah, that was the reason of Snake Mountain. But very interesting things.